You are listening to the cycling podcast at the Vuelta a España in association with Rapha, the fastest clothing in the world tour, the home of cycling with character. Ride and watch with Rapha in 2019 as they partner EF Education First and Canyon SRAM. Stage 10. Today we are in Pau.
Where are we, Daniel?
We're in Pau. We're in a restaurant we've been to many times. Well, at least a couple of times before. We're in the Place Royale, which is probably the nicest destination, nicest place to have dinner in Pau. Been here. Well, I learned the Tour de France has been here 71 times. Might be 72, in fact, after this year. Third most visited city Pau is by the Tour de France. After where, Rich?
City, Paris.
Correct.
And
one not far from here.
One not far from here. Toulouse?
Bordeaux.
Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't gone to Bordeaux very much recently.
No, 81 times, I think. Anyway.
But we're at the Vuelta.
Yeah.
Why, before I get onto the stage, why did they have a time trial in Pau at the Tour de France and a time trial in Pau at the Vuelta?
I don't know the answer.
Is that just a coincidence?
Same finish line as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
vaguely similar course.
Longer today, though. A significant stage, wasn't it, today? We'll be talking about that, but it was won by Primoz Roglic, as we expected, but the time gap's perhaps even more than we expected. Paddy Bevan, very good ride from him for a second at 25 seconds. You had to go down a bit to find some of the GC contenders. Tadej Pogačar. We'll be speaking about him a bit later on. He was 11th, having been second at the first time check. Faded a little bit and finished 1 minute 29 down on Roglic. Miguel Angel Lopez.
Superman.
Was 14th, 2 minutes, but Nairo Quintana lost
Nairo Man.
3 minutes. And so the GC now is, Roglic leads by 1:52 from Alejandro Valverde, who did a decent time trial. Lopez,
Superman,
third at 2:11, and Quintana fourth at 3 minutes.
Man.
Pogačar,
Pog,
is closing on Quintana just 5 seconds further back, and Carl Fredrik Hagen,
who we don't have a name for, but he's got a great story that I haven't really explored yet. I think he's a former biathlete and mountain biker.
Okay. Well, must go and speak to him because he's ghosted into 6th on GC.
I think he's riding this Vuelta a la Atapuma. He lost quite a lot of time early on, and he gained a lot of time back on the stage to Igualada, the ill-fated, from my point of view, stage to Igualada.
The fastest clothing in the world tour, the home of cycling with character. Ride and watch with Rapha in 2019 as they partner EF Education First and Canyon SRAM.
Thank you very much indeed to Rapha, our title sponsor. Grateful to them for their support. Managed to get the Pédaleur de Charme t-shirt today to Angelo Madrazo, the king of the mountains at the moment, and our Pédaleur de Charme from week 1.
How did he react?
He was delighted.
Effusive.
Slightly. He's followed us back on Twitter, which is nice. That's a vote of confidence. But Lionel wants to rescind it. He wants to revoke it. He wants to claim it back for the outfit that he wore today, the all-in-one, the polka dot onesie. But that wasn't his choice, was it? That's the race organisation basically decides on that outfit, and it was a polka dot shorts and top combo, and he combined it with black socks.
And this is a rule which apparently comes from the race organisers. There's nothing in the UCI regulations about, if there is, it says that it's at the discretion of the race organisers whether the leaders or the holders of the prize jerseys have to accept and use the skin suits laid on by the organiser. And in the Vuelta's case, if they didn't force those riders, so Madrazo, Rog, Quintana and Superman, if they didn't force them to, I think they were very keen for those riders to wear the official jerseys. Certainly the red jersey has to wear the organisers jersey, but I think it's at the discretion in some races of the rider whether they use their own team skin suit or the prize jersey skin suit.
Well, I saw the green skin suit being delivered to Jumbo-Visma this morning by Fernando Escartin, no less. Not eating a banana on this occasion, but he was delivering that, and it was being very closely inspected by the various members of the performance team at Jumbo-Visma. Obviously checking it was okay, and all the labels were on correctly and so on. It didn't hold him back, did it? And I guess I also heard Pogečar was very relieved not to be in the white jersey of Best Young Rider, because he was so keen to wear his Slovenian national champion's outfit.
Very good it looked.
It looked great. It looked great. And what a ride he did, although it looked at one point as if he was going to be the story of the day. You know, he was fastest through the first checkpoint before Roglic arrived. He faded a little bit, but a strong ride from him. But an incredible ride from Roglic. Was it more than we expected, or about level?
I think about level par, wasn't it? It looked at one stage as though he was going to smash everyone and maybe win by a couple of minutes, or put a couple of minutes even to Pogečar and Pogečar and the other good time trialists among GC contenders. But he sort of levelled out a little bit, didn't he? It was an interesting time trial. I mean, are time trials ever interesting? Today wasn't a bad one, was it? The course was interesting in the sense that there were three definite sections that sort of coincided with or lined up with the time check. So up to the first time check, it was pretty much all climbing and all false flat. Then it was a test of descending as much as anything, and then the final part was all pretty much flat or mostly flat. So there were I thought there were quite big differences in the way the riders approached those three sections. Pogečar obviously had decided to go off very fast. Others, I think Bevan gained a lot of time in the second tranche. But yeah, that was quite intriguing.
Yeah, it was an unusually long time trial, wasn't it, for a Grand Tour these days? 36 kilometres. They used to be pretty commonplace at that sort of length, you know, almost an hour, although it was quite a bit less than an hour in the end. But for me, it would have been an hour on a very good day. But quite unusual to have such a long time trial. And I guess it's now defence for Roglic. He must be very confident. He does have a strong team here, and you know the right. He had a bit of a disaster getting over here the other night, as I said last night, with the aborted helicopter ride. But I think he is in a very, very, very strong position now, and it might take the others ganging up a bit on him.
Can I just interrupt, Rich, to the most important moment of the evening?
The wine has arrived.
And it's Jurançon wine. And where's the podcast?
Jurançon.
Not the podcast. The podcast didn't start in Jurançon. The time trial started in Jurançon. And what is Jurançon famous for?
Very bad service in the restaurant where I had lunch.
Oh, really? Well, it's famous for its wine. It's very
lovely.
famous for its wine.
It's lovely. Do you want to know my tasting notes on that? Hang on. Oh, it's very nice.
Dear me. But
honey.
It's famous for...
I'm tasting honey, Daniel. Honey and citrus.
Well, interesting. You should say that.
It's very dry.
Well, we've gone for Jurançon sec. Jurançon is very famous for its wine, but it's very famous for its sweet wine.
Well, it tastes much like a sweet wine made dry, because it's that very smooth, kind of heavy.
Second most famous sweet wine in France. First most famous being Sauternes, and Jurançon being it's sort of a kind of a poor man's Sauternes, really. Oh,
right, okay. Is that what we are tonight? Poor men. Anything else from today, Daniel? I mean, Roglic, is he going to win the Vuelta now? What's going to happen?
Well, there are 5 hard mountain stages to come. 4 of them are summit finishes, if I'm not mistaken. And again, we sort of come back to the point we were making yesterday. There is no sort of... There's no sequence of sort of 3-4 consecutive mountain stages and then they're done with it on this Vuelta. You get a couple of days of hiatus and then you're back in the mountains and then you're back out of the mountains and I was talking to Sepp Kuss today, just asking him how well his team, Jumbo-Visma, Primoz Roglic's team, know those climbs, and they don't really know them very well at all. So they'll be relying on things like Velo Viewer and Google Earth and YouTube videos. So there's quite a lot, I think, that could surprise the riders in the last 2 weeks or a week and a half we've got left now. I mean, I think the stages in Asturias that we've got on Sunday and Monday, so that's the summit finish at the Santuario del Acebo and the next day at La Cubilla, could be absolutely crucial.
It was not surprising but interesting how with the exception of George Bennett, really, the Jumbo-Visma riders took it easy, and they include, of course, Tony Martin, former world time trial champion. But I spoke to Nielsen Paulus at the finish. He was barely out of breath. I mean, you know, he said that it had been a day for conserving energy, as you'd expect, but, you know, they do look well positioned, really. It is a race, the Vuelta, where there's more unpredictability to it because of these stages. And I suppose one of the questions, we'll hear from Fran Reyes in the next part, actually, on the drama at Movistar. But one of the questions about Movistar is who's the leader of that team now? Is it Alejandro Valverde or Nairo Quintana? We heard on the rest day, of course, that Quintana is definitely joining RKS Sam 16 winner Anacona with him. And Richard Carapaz is joining Team Ineos. So Movistar lost 2 Grand Tour winners on the rest day. I'm
very much looking forward to Nairo Man sort of turning up in a striped jumper, in a sort of Breton striped
riding Trobo Leon next year.
Yeah,
that'll be his main.
And eating crepes for breakfast every morning. What other Breton cliches, stereotypes can we throw in there?
Lots of cider.
Antoine Veyer will be his biggest fan come this time next year.
Chute à l'arrière du peloton, cycling podcast team car at the back of the pack, please.
That's Seb Piquet, the voice of Radio Tour at the Tour de France, interrupting our Vuelta coverage, as am I. Sorry about that, Richard. To remind me to tell you that this episode is sponsored by Roka Sunglasses. Roka was founded in 2013 in a garage in Austin, Texas, with the mission to create the world's finest eyewear. And 6 years and 30 plus patents later, Roka's athletes have won numerous world titles and stages of the Tour de France. Every pair of Roka eyewear is lightweight, will never slip or fall off your face, and features razor-sharp optics. And we've been hearing about Roka's sunglasses, and Richard and I have been wearing the glasses over the summer, and I can certainly vouch for the non-slip aspect of the patented Gecko technology, because I've been running in the Barton model of glasses, which is a kind of classic sunglass design, and even with my fairly hefty running style, they haven't slipped at all. In fact, I don't really feel like I'm wearing glasses at all. They fit that well and they're that light. Anyway, don't just take my word for it. Roka sunglasses are worn by a number of riders in both the men's and women's peloton, including Miguel Angel Lopez and Jesus Herrada in this Vuelta, and one very famous rider who's won stages of the Tour de France in the past. So over to him.
Hey, I'm Dan Martin. I'm currently riding for UAE Team Emirates. Obviously, we spent long days in the saddle, both at home training and at the races, and eye protection, whether it be UV rays or dust, stones, whatever flicks up from the road, insects, you really need to be well protected. And yeah, it's been faultless. The last couple of years using Roka, rain or shine, it's been they're incredibly comfortable sunglasses, and it's I'm very, very happy to be able to continue using them at this moment. Generally in the races, obviously, hopefully it's sunny. So, and in the Tour de France, I was using I think it's called the Flame lens, a pretty dark lens, just to be able to mirrored lens to be able to obviously shield yourself from the intense sun that we get in July. There's also a lens, I think it's called Fusion, that's a little bit of as the name suggests, it kind of mixes. It's a nice blend if the weather's changeable. If the sun does come out, then you're protected, but then it's not quite so dark that if it starts to rain or it gets a bit cloudy, that you still have good vision.
If you'd like to try out Roka sunglasses, go to roka.com/Vuelta to get 20% off your order. That's roka.com/Vuelta, and Roka is spelled ROKA.
Well, I mentioned that I spoke to Fran Reyes, our old friend who's working at the Vuelta and for the Vuelta now, about Movistar and the drama there. There's been a lot of questions about that team and who's leading and whether the departure of Quintana may have unsettled the ship a little bit. Well, I'm joined by old friend of the podcast, Fran Reyes.
Why an old friend? I mean, I'm not old. I am new to the sport. I am only 28.
We've known you a long time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Fran, you've got a new job at the Vuelta. How's that going?
Well, it's going quite easy, at least for me. I mean, I enjoy a lot watching the race from its inside. Getting to know what an event like this is like from its very belly,
from the innards. And nobody can be following the race as closely as you. You must have seen everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Apart from the mud road the other day.
Exactly.
Nobody's seen that. Did that even happen?
Well, actually, I think it happened because someone was in the motorbike, and on his motorbike he recorded 15 seconds of it and showed it to me. So I know for a fact that some riders, at least 4, went across the mud, because it was not gravel, it was plain mud. But yeah, and it was mud as well.
Fran, I wanted to ask you about Spain's number 1 team, Movistar. We're speaking after the time trial. The pack's been shuffled again. Valverde is the guy who's best placed now. Quintana lost quite a lot of time today. But is the impression from the outside of a little bit of disarray in that team? Is that accurate, do you think?
Yes, it's a situation that has been going on for a long time inside the team. Let's say that the leaders don't fit too well with each other. The management of the team hasn't been quite clear on how to assess this. They haven't assessed this clearly, because for ages what they've done with every problem has been waiting for it to solve itself on the road. And in this case, it didn't work as well as it had worked in the past, with situations like Perico Delgado and Miguel Indurain, Abraham Olano and Jose Maria Jimenez, Oscar Pereiro and the same Alejandro Valverde back in the Tour de France 2006 and 2007.
You could even say Carapaz and Landa at the Giro.
Yeah, but Carapaz and Landa was at some point it kind of cleared itself up.
That's what I mean. It worked quite well.
Yes, exactly. It cleared itself up because Carapaz stepped forward and did that long-range attack 40 kilometers to go on some mountain stage. In this case, neither of the leaders have actually taken that step forward. Maybe because they can't, maybe because they didn't want to. And the situation has been even until today, when on time trial there was nowhere to hide, and Alejandro Valverde, who is more skilled on this type of race, just gained a minute or more than it on Quintana.
And we learned on the rest of it, Quintana is definitely leaving. We kind of knew that anyway, but it was confirmed that he's joining Arkea Samsic. A strange move in a lot of ways, but what will that do? I mean, will Movistar be sad to lose him, and will that affect how things play out here?
Well, it is affecting how it's playing out, because a situation more or less weird that has been going on for 5 years, it's coming to an end. So there is no need to keep the manners anymore, and the tension is disappearing because there is no need to keep it afloat, so it's going to affect. What I don't know is how it is going to pan out, if it is going to be for the better or for the worse. And as for how much will Quintana be missing Movistar, I think that the Movistar we are seeing in 2019 won't have anything to do to what we'll see in 2020. Some leaders are leaving, a pack of young riders is coming in. They are losing a lot of Spanish-speaking riders and recruiting a lot of foreigners, English speakers, so to speak, and that is going to change the outfit completely. And let's see also if there are some changes in the staff, because for quite a couple of years Eusebio Stone, Sebastian has been winning some traction.
Eusebio Unzué, the long-time team owner manager. Correct.
His son has been part of the staff for quite some time, and he's step by step taking over the reins, in the recruitment and also in the management of the team. So if nowadays he's the manager of Movistar's women team, and let's see if he gains also some executive power, so to speak, and also in the men's team.
Rich, what did you make of the beef about Marc Soler's reaction to being called back or to being asked to sit up in Andorra? I mean, I don't know if you saw Pablo Lastras's comments, which I thought were pretty harsh for a gesture that wasn't extreme by any means. Basically, Soler sort of threw his arms up, and it was obviously unhappy. But Lastras's quote sort of suggested that he'd done something absolutely treasonable. Treasonous.
Yeah, I mean
that it was awful, the kind of thing that he was, on the verge of being sent home for.
Well, I think he made himself look pretty silly, not least because Pogečar, I can say it differently every time. Pog won the stage, and I think he would have won the stage kind of regardless. If Soler had ignored instructions and not gone back, I think the Pog would have gone straight past him. But I think he made himself look silly, and I think also that his focus as still quite a young rider and a rider who's not really delivered on his promise, his focus should be on helping the team to win the Vuelta, and they've got two riders who are reasonably placed to maybe do that, certainly better placed than he is, and so he has to do what he's told. If he's got a problem with it, the time to speak to complain is in private later on, I think. I
agree, although I would also say that very often riders are called back from breaks or told to sit up, and they subsequently make very sort of token contributions because they've, most of the time they have been in a break all day, and there's very little they can do. The guy coming up from behind is going a lot faster, is a lot stronger, and when it's on a climb, there's limited advantage to be gained from slipstreaming it anyway, and that was kind of the case with Soler, wasn't it? I mean, he couldn't make that big a contribution.
You're saying it was silly to call him back?
I kind of think it was in that instance. I kind of think it was in that instance.
Listen, I mentioned the Pog. Sorry, you're going to say something else?
The other big news flash is that treasonable is in fact a word. It's an adjective.
I wonder what you were doing there on your phone. That's why I kind of went quiet, because I knew you were up to something.
It refers to the nature of anything, the nature of treason.
Okay. Yeah. Well, speaking of the Pog, here's what he said at the finish. We're going to hear from him, first of all, about his ride and about his Vuelta. I also spoke to his sports director, Neil Stevens, at UAE-Emirates, and the head of medicine there, Jeroen Swart, who has just arrived. And he'll be, I think, important in monitoring Pogečar and basically deciding whether he can finish this race. They're not going to pull him out if he's in the top 10, but they'll be monitoring him very, very carefully because he's only 20 years old. It's his first Grand Tour, his first season as a professional. So here is first Pogečar himself, then Neil Stevens, and then Jeroen Swart.
It was so hard, Titi, but I felt great, and I just went full gas, and I'm really happy with the time. I mean, on the downhills, I rested a bit, but after second climb, I was pretty struggling. But then I feel again the legs, and I'm in full gas. When I won the TT Nationals, I wanted to represent my country here at Vuelta.
And it's a perfect course for Primoz Roglic. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's perfect for him because he's really good on TT bike, and here on this course are also important TT skills, and I think he's one of the strongest TT guys right now.
Well, Pogečar, I mean, his performance the other day, we've seen what he's capable of this year, but did that surprise you?
No, not at all. The one-day performances are great. He's been even shown the Tour of California after a week of that sort of stuff. He's up there with the best in the world. It's unknown terrain from here on. I think one of his longest races up until now has been the Tour 11 here. He's shown he can do the well over this sort of week or 10 days sort of period. But his unknown territory is going to be the 2 weeks to 3 weeks sort of period.
A rider that young, often they don't finish their first Grand Tour. He's 5th overall at the moment, maybe higher tonight. Is the plan for him to finish?
I think the plan is to go day by day. Obviously we want to sort of see how he's going. We're not going to pull him out if he's still going well. The present is very important to us, but also the future as well. So we'll take it day by day, see how he's going, and obviously, his recovery will let us know what we should be doing with him.
Well, I mean, first of all, I asked Neil this question as well, but his performance a couple of days ago, was that a surprise to you?
No, I think it's been clear from the other races like the Tour of California and the Vuelta that he's at a very high level already. He's had a phenomenal number of victories for such a young rider, so he's clearly an extremely highly talented rider. That's quite a overstatement, I think. Oh, not overstatement, but that's maybe a statement of fact. You know, his result wasn't that unexpected. I think there were some other circumstances, obviously the crashes for Roglic and, you know, the conditions. So, you know, it's difficult to say exactly how clear a reflection of pure uphill speed that was. But certainly he's got the ability to have great results like that. And this Vuelta is for him just really a testing ground. There's no pressure on him. He's here to just, you know, see how he goes over the course of the 3 weeks. And obviously we want to look after him and make sure that if he does start to show signs of significant fatigue, then we need to look after him, and that means him taking it easy necessarily. But we'll see what happens.
Would you expect him to finish, or is it too early to say?
Oh, he may well finish, and we'll see day by day and see how he goes.
So you are monitoring him as a medical man. I guess your job is very important to monitor how he's coping.
We do physiological tests that we've implemented throughout the season during the rest days as well. So we'll get that data. We'll look at all the data as well as his subjective input, and then we'll make decisions based on that.
Physiologically, we've seen guys that young be, you know, given 10 days or something, but physiologically, is there any reason why he can't finish?
No, there's no reason why he can't finish. It's just simply that as you get a little bit older, so from age 25 onwards, you just have that increased resilience, and that helps riders finish stage races like this. But given his ability and the level that he's at, there's no reason why he can't finish it. The only thing is to make sure that from a health perspective and from a fatigue perspective, that it doesn't result in any long-term significant fatigue or injury or illness. So as long as he's healthy and coping and able to complete the distance, then there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to do it.
The Cycling Podcast is supported by Science in Sport. Science in Sport, fueled by science.
Hi, I'm Terry Geoghegan-Hart and I ride for Team Ineos. My favourite Science in Sport product is something that we in the team have affectionately called rocket fuel. However, if you're searching for it on the website, it'll be under the title Beta Fuel.
Thank you very much indeed to Science and Sport for their support of the Cycling Podcast and the 25% discount that they offer to you, the listeners. Just go to scienceandsport.com and enter the code SISCP25. That's SISCP25. Now it's time for the latest instalment from our two audio diarists, Nick Schultz of Mitchelton-Scott and James Knox of the Koenig Quickstep. Both took very different approaches to today's time trial. For James, climbing up GC and clearly finding his legs after a strong ride on Sunday. It was quite an important day. For Nick, perhaps less so, but James did an extraordinary ride, as we'll hear. Here they are, Nick Schultz first and then James Knox.
Stage 10, individual time trial. Almost a second rest day for a lot of the peloton. Actually, rest day is probably not the right word, but a relaxed day where you can sort of try to open up the engine after a really easy day the day before and just sort of ease back into things before it really gets going again tomorrow. It's more or less a nice day. Go out, get a bit of solitary time there on the bike, and just ride a tempo to keep things ticking. For me personally, I had my coach send me through a protocol to follow, just to sort of keep the body moving, open things up, and make sure I was comfortably within the time cut. But in a time trial, it's you have to go very, very slow essentially to miss the time cut. So I'll talk through that protocol, I guess, as it might be interesting to you listeners. Basically, the course was 36k. There was a 2-kilometre climb right from the get-go. So basically, on that climb, I did a progressive effort, essentially, starting in about zone 2 and working through to zone 4, so across about 5 minutes or so, just progressing the power from 300 to 400 watts. And then for the next sort of undulating plateau, just kept things pretty controlled there, riding back down at zone 2 and keeping the heart rate low. Then we had a little descent and a flat section, again keeping things in zone 2 before another, I think it was 2.5 or 3k climb, where I did another progressive effort, much like on the first climb. From there was a quick descent where I kept things pretty controlled. Again, zone 2, zone 3 for the last 10k or so. After the stage, had a quick snack and rode back to the hotel, which was about 6k away, and then had some post-ride, essentially a post-race meal, and I'm now on the massage table, essentially preparing again for tomorrow, which will be a hard stage, an uphill start and an undulating terrain with a few climbs along the way. So probably another day that a big break will go to the line. I'm sure it'll be really tough. Cheers.
Hey everyone, just catching my breath watching the end of the TT from my hotel room. I haven't actually seen where I came, but I think I was 14th or 15th. Pretty well done right now. Plan was all along to go for it. I think I paced it very well, which basically means went out hard, had to take the climbs on because I'm a small guy, tried to push on, keeping the rhythm on the flat downhill bits, laying it out there last climb and then just hanging on to the end. Those last 5Ks took forever, but I think I did really, really good time for me. I'm not a time trialist, small guy, made up with that. That's a good effort against Power Man's course, I reckon. Proper sporting course. Got a lot of time for that. Bet the organisers are putting on a challenging TT. Nothing too straightforward. It was long as well, which it seems to be a dying part of the Grand Tours. I know it might be a bit hard in the grand scheme of things. Takes it away from the climbers. Maybe changes the dynamic of the race, but you want to see all-round riders winning as well. So, and I don't know what TV coverage was like, but I did my best Wiggins impression. I got the hands laid over one another just to try and stay tucked in an aero. What else? You're asking. How was it after the rest day? No, yesterday we just had a good spin around on the TT bikes, having a look at the course. Had a press a little bit, but nothing too special. Just 40k, just rolling around, having a look at it. Then felt good today. I don't think I need too much to get the engine going. I hate all this warm-up business. Don't tell my coach, because seems to be commonplace now in cycling to have a nice big structured warm-up, but I just put the music in, have a caffeine gel, let the nerves kick in, because to be honest, I'm a ball of nerves, big bag of nerves before the start, so don't want to press too hard, just keep the legs spinning. I think I did 25-30 minutes just gradually warming up. I don't think I touched 200 watts, so that's basically my warm-up, which I don't think is standard, but seems to work for me. Spent the morning in bed. TT days are the worst, actually. Woke up this morning already feeling it, just the nerves. Didn't really enjoy breakfast. Didn't really enjoy watching Netflix, going in backwards and forwards to the toilet, all these little things. I think as a cyclist you take for granted that you don't really have many. Wow, you usually can be relaxed because it's 200k, but when it's all out from the start and you got a bet, reminds me back when I used to be a runner, that real knot in the stomach, so it's always a stress, and I'm just really glad it's over now. More than anything, it's a relief it's done, and we'll move on for the rest of the race now, but the team seem quite happy with me and I'm quite pleased with that myself. I need to get back to the UK and smash a 10 and see how fast I can go.
Thanks very much to our audio diarists for their latest instalments, fascinating as ever. And James Knox obviously has found his legs and is riding well. Good ride from him today. He's up to 20th overall. Before we go, a few thank yous to friends of the podcast. I'd like to say a big thank you to Andrew Ward, Catherine Ann Beale, Alistair Morgan, Roger Taylor, Neil Hodgson, Andrew Loveland and Ray Boshold.
And to Kevin McCarthy, Stephen Cartmel, Steve Carter, Oltan Coyle, Juha Matula and Stephen Ramirez.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Vamos